y'all, it's Deb, welcome back. This video is a follow-up to part 1, Budgeting 101, how to get started. So if you're brand new or you just stumbled on this video, I'm gonna link the other one right here. It's really important that you watch that one and then we can get into this one. In this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how to budget. Now the budget system that I'm going to be working with is called a zero-based budget. Again, if you need an explanation, go watch part 1. So I'm gonna give you a pretend income, go through some categories, a lot of the categories that you need to remember, and then I'm going to show you what your budget should look like at the end. This is going to sound very elementary for a lot of you, but I'm going to explain it, and we have people in our home all the time who have never budgeted before, and this is how we explain it. So if it sounds very elementary, just understand that we're trying to help as many people as we can, especially those of you who have never budgeted before. The very first step in budgeting, after you've chosen which one you want to do and what your goals are, whether you're getting out of debt, saving for retirement, saving for college, whatever's going on, the first thing that you need to do is list your total monthly income. Now, a lot of you are going to say, well, Deborah, I don't know from one month to the next what I'm going to be making. My paychecks are not perfectly the same. Average it out. And if you've been working for 12 months of your life, you have a pretty good idea of where you're sitting. Don't make it too high, but also don't make it too low. Just take the average. This needs to include all income. So let's pretend you're 25 and you're fresh out of college, you're in your first job, but in order to make ends meet, you're also doing Instacart, or you're driving for Lyft, or you babysit or whatever, mow yards. You need to list all of that income. The reason why, and I talk about this in video number 1, the reason why is because if you don't, you're going to accidentally wind up wasting money and not naming every dollar. And then you've done all that work and it's not really serving any purpose. So I have started, I'm gonna do this with you. This is a pretend income, this is not our income. I have started with an income of $4,000 a month. Okay, so that's the first thing you wanna write at the top. And you don't need to make this fancy. You're literally just, it's like making a grocery list, and we're gonna list out the numbers, okay? So a pretend income of $4,000 a month. The next thing that you want to do is list your 4 major expenses. Now, when I say major, I don't mean the most expensive. I mean the 4 walls of living, like Dave Ramsey talks about. So your rent or your mortgage or your living, whatever your living situation is, your food, your transportation and gas because you've got to go to work, or whatever that looks like, bus pass, bike maintenance, whatever that is, and your electricity and water, things like that. Those are the 4 walls. Without those things, you're in worse trouble than what this video can help you with. So those are the 4 most important, the 4 first things you want to write down. I've listed out my 4 walls. These are just pretend numbers. I know what the economy is right now. Those are the 4 most important. The next thing that I'm going to do is write down all other bills that I know are going to come out. So we're talking internet, cell phone, credit card payment, tuition for school, things like that. Bills that I know I have to pay, life insurance bills, medical stuff or medical insurance, things like that, car insurance. So I'm going to write all of those down, and our lists are going to look different based on whether you're married or you're single or you've got children or you're still living with your parents or whatever. These are going to look different, but it's the same concept. So this next step is to write down bills that automatically come out or you know you have to pay every month. All right, here we go. So, and this is just pretend. So there are a lot of categories that I've left out, but this is just for educational purposes. So I've written all those things down that are real common for most people. And what you're going to do is you're going to add all of these up, and then you're going to put that number right here, and then you're going to subtract it from your income. So at the end of the month with this little system, and I know I've left some things out, it says I've got $1,570 left at the end of the month, right? Now, because I know I have left out some categories, I'm going to pretend that on my budget, I only have $1,000 left over. Now, what's not on this budget yet is any kind of savings or retirement. This stuff is very, very important. 1, we're all going to forget some categories. You've got to have a savings account. That's number 1. Number 2, you need a savings account in case you lose your job. Losing your job can happen to any person, educated or not, white collar, blue collar, an 18-year-old or an 80-year-old. Yes, 80-year-olds do work. This happened to us this past summer. My husband is 44 years old, has never lost a job a day in his life. He lost his job. No warning, no nothing. He just lost his job. And we all know, especially in the last 3 years, it can happen to the best of people. You need to plan for that. You don't know when it's going to happen. It happens to many, many people, good people, bad people, whatever. You need to plan for that. You need a hefty savings account. Now, Dave Ramsey, and I agree, recommends having 3 to 6 months living expenses. Now, here's what he means by that. He does not mean that that includes eating out, going to the movies with your friends, having people over and ordering pizza. That is not a need. So when you're talking about how much money you need to have a goal for in your savings account, we're talking 3 to 6 months of living, your food, your rent, your gas to get to work. Most of us are going to rely on some internet. You still have to have car insurance. You're probably not going to give up your cell phone. Most people won't. And you've got to have sewer, water, and trash pickup if you live in a bigger city. So yes, it looks great. Oh, I got $1,000 at the end of the month. I can go shopping. No, baby girl, you cannot. You haven't allocated for retirement, your savings, or my personal favorite, your debt payment. And the reason why I'm lining this out is because a lot of people will look at something like this. They go, oh, I'm doing pretty well. Well, you are. You've got your expenses covered, but you are not planning anything for the future to help your future self. That is very, very important. So we have our budget laid out, and according to our piece of paper, we have $1,000 left over, but I'm gonna pretend that I'm a normal, average American, and I've got a ton of debt, no savings, and no retirement, okay? That's cool. If that's where you are, I'm not judging you. I'm not being hard on you. I am cheering you on. I'm very excited for you. You're doing the right thing. Okay, so let's attack it. Now, your numbers are going to look different based on whatever your minimum payments are. You want to make sure you are always, at least you are current on your debt payment and you're making the minimum payments consistently. So let's just pretend that we are, and you've already put those things into the budget. So we still have $1,000 left over. I would take $600 of it, maybe $700, dump it on the debt, and I would take that leftover $300 and put it into my savings account. Now, again, we're pretending that you have no savings and hefty debt. We're going to worry about retirement at the next step. And if you just Google the Dave Ramsey baby steps, you'll know what I'm talking about. Retirement is something that you're not too late. If you're 35, if you're 45, you're not too late. You can still do that. That is not an emergency that we're looking at right now. Your emergency right now is getting out of debt, and you need a savings account. Trust me, we have been down this road. Our savings account saved our butts. So I'm talking from experience. You need it. So we've taken care of the person who has a ton of debt and has no savings. That's what you should do. You should put $700 on your debt, $300 in your savings account, and just keep doing that, Once your debts are paid off, I mean, it's going to take you a while, that's okay. Once your debts are paid off, all of that $1,000 goes into your savings account, okay? Until you get it up to your 3 to 6 months living expenses. And then you can start taking that leftover money and dumping it into retirement and all that kind of stuff. Let's pretend that you have $1,000 left over and you don't have any debt and you do have a savings account. If you look at the Dave Ramsey steps, you're going to take that money and invest it, like that's your retirement. If you are a husband and a wife or a single mom, whatever, and you've got children, now you're looking at college savings for them. And listen, I don't care if they're 15. You can still put money away for their college education. So it's okay if you're starting late. It's better to at least try and put some money away, especially for their first year of school. With this example that I've given you, I hope you understand what I mean when I say a zero-based budget. If you pay attention to the way that we've gone through it and the numbers that I've given you, you will notice that at the very end of the budget that we've laid out, we have zero money left over. If you've watched my first video, you'll understand why that can give people anxiety. Make sure you go watch that so you understand what I'm talking about. But now that you have a better understanding of why a zero-based budget works better, makes more sense, and is helping more people become successful with financial freedom, you'll understand why I've laid this out the way that I have. So let's start at the beginning. List your income, list your 4 walls, food, house, electricity and gas in your car so you can get to work. And then lay out all of your other bills, every other expense you can possibly think of, including debt payment, so credit card, car payments, student loans. Write all that down, draw the line, add it all up, subtract it from your income. Whatever money is left over is not just left over. We can't just leave it like that. You need to spend it. You need to name every dollar. So what you're doing is you're giving every dollar a job. We want your money to work for you, not to be a stumbling block or to work against you or just to sit there and do nothing. Okay, if you are married, you and your spouse need to do this together, or whichever one of you is more wired for liking this kind of thing, maybe you could be the one to write it down. However, both of you need to go over it. Both of you need to understand, why are we doing what we're doing? How come we have no money at the end of the month? Both of you need to be on the same page. I cannot stress that enough, okay? If you are single, and Adam and I work with a ton of single young adults from our church because they need accountability. They don't have a spouse. And a lot of them have moved out of their parents' home, which is great, but they need accountability. So we offer that to them. Make sure that you go to someone you can trust because you need to share these numbers. You need to be honest. So make sure you have an accountability partner that, first of all, don't choose someone who's in as much debt as you are. That's not the best accountability partner. It's great if you guys want to do that together. That's not who you need to be accountable to. You need to choose somebody who is financially out of debt, older than you, I would recommend. It's just wiser to sort of do that. That's a biblical principle, to look to people who are older, wiser. We've walked this road. So we've made our mistakes, which is why we want to help you not make yours. So I would choose somebody older. I would choose someone financially free if possible, and someone that you know they love you and they care about you so that you can be vulnerable. You need to be honest. The first step in tackling this whole financial mess that you might be in, you've got to come to terms with, what did I do to get here and what do I do to get out of it? Go to somebody that you feel comfortable enough having that conversation. So choose somebody who loves you. If you don't have a good church, I would recommend you get plugged into one. This is one of the there are bigger reasons than this, but this is one of the very small reasons why. A community like this of people who love you and care about you, even if you're 60 and you've made mistakes and you need someone to help you, maybe you don't have the option of having someone older, you can still have people who are wiser in this area to come alongside of you and help you and encourage you. So I highly recommend that. So if you are doing this by yourself, you need accountability. If you're doing this with your spouse, y'all need to do this together. So now you know exactly how to make a budget. Some of you are going to feel more comfortable literally writing it down on paper. That's me. I'm just a very simple person. My husband is an engineer. He loves some Excel. He could hop on Excel. He loves, and if you know somebody in your life who is an engineer, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They love the numbers. They love Excel. It makes them so excited. That doesn't mean that I don't need to be included, and that doesn't mean that I get to be lazy. I don't get to do that. I still need to come alongside of him, and we always monthly do this together. So if you want to write it down on paper, write it on paper. If you want to do it in Excel or some sort of app on your phone, you go for it. Now you have your budget, right? So now you know exactly how to do a zero-based budget, all right? Step number 2, I would say, is everybody mostly that's going to be doing this, you're probably watching on your phone or your iPad. You need to choose an app or some kind of cash system to make this work. So you're going to have a lot of bills like your rent and stuff like that that's going to come out automatically from your checking account. Everything that you pay for, so we're talking credit card, don't use a credit card anymore, cut them up. So everything that you use your check card for or cash for, you need to now really strictly follow either using an app that I've mentioned before, or you need to start doing cash envelopes. So I have a video explaining that. That's in part 1. You need to do that. So don't just rely on this piece of paper. Now, depending on where you are and some changes that you want to make, you need to approach this probably differently than what you've been doing before. I hope this was helpful. If I did not make anything clear or this was too complicated, please post below. I am happy to clear anything up, answer your questions, or if you just want somebody to cheer you on, let that person be me. I'm happy to do that. This is something that Adam and I feel so passionately about. One, we have been there. We've been young and dumb. We've done the dumb stuff. We had to course correct and fix all that. Hopefully we never do that again. So we know what this feels like. We know how it feels to not have any clue what you're doing or where to begin. And now we've got 15, 20 years underneath us. One of the things that brings us the most joy is to have young couples or young singles come into our home and we have dinner and we go through all of this, and to watch them do this on their own. It's like a parent watching your child ride the bike without their training wheels for the first time. It's a glorious feeling, and that's why I feel so passionate about it. Adam does too. We love helping people in this area. So if I can be of any help, let me know. Y'all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.